And good morning, Finger Lakes. Happy Columbus Day. It's a Monday, October 14th, 2013. Jim Sinicropi sitting in for the dog H. Weber. He'll be back next Monday. We're going to run through some football results, talk a little baseball, a little playoff baseball. But first, I don't know if you had a chance to check out any of the webcasts that we did this weekend here in Seneca Falls. Two of them. Hall of Fame weekend, you might call it. The Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremonies on Saturday, and the Minders Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Sunday. Just last night. Long ceremony last night, about 3.5 hours. But the reason I'm bringing this up is if you get a chance, go back and watch some of these webcasts and check out some of the speeches. There was a common theme, I think, between the two events, even though they were a lot different. And they were both at the Chiropractic College, NYCC, the Women's Hall of Fame at the gymnasium, which is converted into a giant auditorium. You know, I don't have an official attendance count, but I'd say well over 1,000 people there. And then the Minders Sports Hall of Fame in the Delavan Theater on the campus at NYCC. So Finger Lakes one was there with a couple of webcasts, a couple of different buildings at NYCC, and the speeches were really phenomenal. So on Saturday you have some of the most influential women in the world. Say what you want about your politics. Nancy Pelosi, the first woman speaker of the House, Democratic Majority Leader, was here in Seneca Falls with a lot of Secret Service, and Kate Millett, Ina Mae Gaskin. There was all these women have great stories, and you should check out their induction speeches. Particularly Julie Crone, the winningest female thoroughbred horse jockey of all time, gave a pretty interesting speech. And every speech was a little different, but a lot of these women, a lot of these important women who have had an impact on a global scale. I'll mention Seneca Falls, as a place that's special in the fact that change has been facilitated from here in Seneca Falls, not only for women, but in industry and really in other sectors of human rights. So that's kind of neat, to hear these great women speak of Seneca Falls. And then on Sunday night, the Minders Athletic Hall of Fame, a lot of former residents and Minders graduates there. And the common theme in a lot of those speeches is how Seneca Falls and Minders Academy helped shape their future, and about Seneca Falls being a special place. So especially if you live in Seneca Falls, check out some of these speeches. You can jump around in the video to the specific speeches, so you don't have to sit there, because combined I think that we were live for about a total of 7 hours between the two events. But skip around, check it out. Everybody I think should check out some of the speeches of the women, especially young girls here in the Finger Lakes. But if you live in Seneca Falls or have an affinity for Seneca Falls, I think you would enjoy both these webcasts and the speeches, in especially the Minders Athletic Hall of Fame. It's amazing to hear the folks that were inducted speak highly of Seneca Falls. Les Robinson, for example, I think he's class of 1962, a great athlete, a black athlete, spoke of being the only one, and by that being the only black student at the time, and what that was like for him, and plenty of fond memories of his friends and teammates. Mark Piscatelli went on to a very successful career after Minders, went to Cornell, roomed with Senator Mike Nozzolio, freshman year at Cornell. A lot of great stories. So I'd recommend you check those out. And they're available on fingerlakes1.com. on the homepage all this week, and you can also search YouTube or go to fingerlakes1.tv. So, Webinar this week, brought to you by Cuba Lake National Bank. Usually, Harold will run down some sports topics, and this will be no different. I'm going to start with Syracuse beating NC State. I mean, 24-10, 14-point win. We were on the road. We're in Raleigh. That was a place that Clemson escaped with an 11-point win a couple weeks ago with a couple bad calls. Close game till the end. Our rushing game took over. Jerome Smith and Prince Tyson Gully in the rain. Bob Oman was there, friend of the show. And I was texting back and forth with him a little bit. And it's a big win for Syracuse. We get our first ACC win. Hopefully many more, but for myself as an alumni and a fan, it's important to me that we have a winning record in the ACC this first year. I don't want to go from our roots in the Big East and come to the ACC and have a losing record. So we're back on track. We're 1-1 in the ACC. We're 3-3 overall, I believe. Losses to Penn State, Clemson, and Northwestern. So we're back on track, and Wake Forest next week. Hopefully we can improve to 2-1 in the ACC and move a little step closer to a bowl win. But congratulations, Scott Schaefer and Syracuse on the first ever ACC win. And when we say Syracuse and ACC, a lot of people are getting excited for basketball. Well, guess what? It's right around the corner. Practice is underway, and within 3 weeks from now, Syracuse will have played opened up their season against Cornell, and basketball season will be underway. But it's so nice out here this spring this autumn that the weather's been so great. Maybe we're not quite thinking basketball yet, but it's coming. We're definitely thinking football, high school football. A couple of big games this past weekend. Clyde-Savannah defeats Red Jacket 30-26. Red Jacket was undefeated. Now both these teams have one loss, and if you go back to about a year ago, it was Red Jacket ending Clyde's season in the postseason. So Clyde gets some revenge against a really tough Red Jacket team, and both these teams should fare well after the regular season. Regular season ends next week. Section 5 high school football, week 7. And one team that will have a chance to cap an undefeated regular season is the Geneva Panthers. Now, they had a big win over a tough Wayne team. The Wayne Eagles, a good squad, 47-39, thanks in part to Josh Jackson and Kyle Cosentino racking up over 300 yards on the ground for the Panthers. So now they got Newark next week. And I think I want to say Friday night, might be Saturday, but the Newark Reds, having a pretty solid season of their own, will challenge Geneva and try to prevent that undefeated regular season. And it's a testament to the Panthers program. They lose their senior leader quarterback last year in Shane Sweeney. But they haven't missed a beat. They haven't lost. So congratulations, Geneva Panthers, and good luck next week on capping your regular season undefeated against Newark Reds. But it won't be easy. Throwing a little bad weather and anything could happen. Newark's no pushover, that's for sure. So and how about the NFL? I don't know. There's been NFL games on Thursday nights, Monday nights, Sunday nights, and they've been going up against baseball games. Which have you been watching, baseball or football? Football to me is getting a little... is not as exciting as maybe it has been in years past, and I've been opting to watch the baseball games. Maybe it's because the Giants are 0 for October and September. Steelers did pick up a win yesterday, though, so... defeating the Jets. So the Pittsburgh Steelers got their first win. And, guess what, guys? They're only a couple games out of their division. at 1-5. So, but speaking of baseball, I'll come back and we'll recap the action in the AL and NL Championship Series and get you ready with the slate of games coming up over the next couple days. But first, I want to step aside and hear from our fine sponsors here at Weber This Week. And welcome back to Weber This Week. As you can see, the dog, H. Weber, is off today. We'll be back next Monday with some opinions on things, topics in the world of sports. Jim Sinicropi here for you. Sitting in for the dog. Coming up on about 10 a.m. on Columbus Day here in the Finger Lakes. A rainy day. Another beautiful weekend here in the Finger Lakes. I got to play some golf on Sunday morning in between these webcasts that we were doing. And, man, it is a beautiful time of year to be outside. Especially when, the weather's remaining in the 60s. And even push it into the 70s here in mid-October. It is really a fantastic time to get outside. And I saw some boats on the lake even yesterday. Can you imagine on the lakes of the Finger Lakes what it's like this time of year with the foliage changing? And I was golfing at Seneca Falls Country Club yesterday morning, and just beautiful views down the fairways. Course is in great shape for October. Great shape. Greens were airified a few weeks ago, and and it is cooling down a little bit and some rain today, but the extended forecast actually looks kind of nice to get back out there. And one thing I did notice out there is that for all the colors and leaves that have fallen, on that golf course, I would say there's more trees that are still green. The leaves are still green than trees that the leaves have changed. So don't pack up those golf clubs yet. Don't break out those winter jackets just yet. We still have a few more weeks of great weather to get out, whether you're golfing, hiking, riding your bike, walking the dog, whatever you like to do outside. We have a few more weeks of, I think, really good autumn weather to enjoy before we start having to hunker down, for the winter. And speaking of weather, coming up this week here on Finger Lakes One, we're going to release some weather page enhancements and bring on our own meteorologist, Drew Montreuil, who will be posting updates to our weather page, especially during severe weather events. And obviously weather is important to us here in the Finger Lakes. It can change so fast, whether it's a huge snowstorm or a severe thunderstorm coming through. We definitely keep an eye on the weather here in the Finger Lakes. So our FingerLakes1.com local weather center is going to be bolstered a bit, and you'll see those changes starting this week. And we sure hope that you'll enjoy them and turn to FingerLakes1.com first for all your weather information. So, turning quickly here to the world of baseball. We're down to 4. I don't know if you've been paying attention. How many people out there who consider themselves sports fans can name the 4 teams that are left in the Major League Baseball playoffs? It seems to be going on in the background. and a lot of that's due to the popularity of football. A lot of it might have to do with the games have been on cable channels other than ESPN, like TBS. I find that when games are on those channels, no matter what sport it is, that they tend to be out of sight, out of mind sometimes. But actually now some of the games are moving to Fox. Let's take a look at the NL Championship Series, where St. Louis Cardinals are up 2-0 on the Dodgers. And they're playing again tonight, 8 p.m. on TBS. Tuesday night will be Game 4 on TBS. And then Wednesday, 4 p.m. on TBS. Cardinals are an amazing organization. If it wasn't for the Yankees, you'd probably look at the Cardinals as the elite organization in baseball. Just continued excellence over so many years, so many different rosters. They lost Pujols last year. They lost one of the best hitters in the game today, and they haven't missed a beat. They're up 2-0 in the NL Championship Series. And, of course, Don Mattingly's Dodgers aren't dead yet. I'd actually pulling a little bit for the Dodgers. I wouldn't mind seeing Dodgers, Tigers. Actually, any combination of these teams that are remaining would probably be good, except for the fact that, as a Yankee fan, I have no interest in seeing the Red Sox win another championship. Of course, they're tied at 1-1, and they should have been down 2-0 until Big Papi jacks a grand slam in the 8th inning last night to tie the game 5-5. Red Sox eventually go on to win that game. And that's the type of thing, the reason why I'm saying you got to watch some of these baseball games. Even if you're not a baseball fan, click it over for the last few minutes. It's high drama. It's the type of drama that you can't produce on a football field. It's exclusive to baseball and worth a watch, I think. So the AL Championship Series is tied at 1 apiece. And they're back in action on Tuesday at 4 o'clock on Fox. So a 4 o'clock Tuesday game on Fox. And, at which 4 o'clock, really? We're down to the Final Four of baseball, and we got 2 games this week starting at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I mean, if anything, maybe today, because it's Columbus Day, kids are out of school and banks are closed, and but Tuesday 4 o'clock, Game 3 of the ALCS. Then Wednesday 8 o'clock, also on Fox, and Thursday 8 o'clock, also on Fox. A lot of baseball this week, folks. A lot of baseball. And before I get out of here, every private business in the area is open. It's Columbus Day. Banks are closed, government's closed, schools are closed. Why? For Columbus Day? And I don't know. A little personal, little pet peeve here. I think about it all, but once again, the private sector working hard, the public sector having a day off today. And hey, I wouldn't mind going and get the mail today. Making a deposit at the bank. But it's Columbus Day, and so what are we really honoring on Columbus Day? Actually, there's a link on the front page of Finger Lakes One under Hot Links today called The Oatmeal on Columbus Day. And The Oatmeal is an animation blog, I guess a cartoon blog, where they will post long-form animations regarding certain topics. And this one links to the story of Christopher Columbus and maybe some of the misdeeds that he did when he discovered America. And so it's worth a read. And after you read that, you probably wonder why we have a holiday, a federal holiday for Columbus. A lot of my Italian relatives and friends might not want to hear it because Columbus is a source of Italian pride in some communities, but I mean, really has nothing to do with the Italians here in upstate New York or anywhere. This was a long time ago, and he was a savage explorer. He was greedy, thirsty for gold, and hey, banks are closed today. So, hey, setting up for a great week here, great mid-October week here in the Finger Lakes. So we hope you get outside and enjoy some of that good weather once this rain stops. Hope you can get out and enjoy some high school soccer games, volleyball games, football games next weekend as the regular season wraps up. Maybe get to the Dome, watch Syracuse Wake Forest on Saturday, and of course watch some baseball games tonight. There's no shortage of things to do this week here in the Finger Lakes if you're a sports fan. Whether you're sitting at home and watching some baseball at 4 o'clock on Tuesday, or you're heading up to the Dome on Saturday. And real quick before I get out of here, though, how about the Bills? They come back all that way to tie it and then lose to the Bengals in overtime on a field goal. It's a fine line in the NFL. This is the second game that the Bills could have won that they lost, and you flip that record around and take 2 losses away and add 2 wins, all of a sudden you're on an inside track to the playoffs, and even an inside track to potentially winning that division, the AL East this year, or the AFC East. But of course they lost, and now it's starting to look like they're heading down that road again, where early round draft pick next spring. But you can already see a little bit of a difference of the way they're going about things under head coach Doug Marrone. And, hey, I missed Marrone a little bit at Syracuse, but I feel really good about Scott Schaefer. A little more intensity, a little more emotion. Felt really good to get that win down in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, hopefully we'll beat Wake Forest next week. Whoa. So, thanks again for joining me here on Weber this week to kick off your week. And old H-Dog Weber will be back next Monday with a regular edition of the show. And until then, have a great week, Finger Lakes, and check out those induction speeches on fingerlakes1.tv from the Women's Hall of Fame and the Minders Athletic Hall of Fame. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great week.